What's going on, NC Nation? Today we're going to be talking about mistakes in a discovery call. At least my mistakes. I mean, my mother would say that I've never made mistakes in my life, but she is biased. So I've done a lot of mistakes in my life, whether it's life related or sales engineering related. Some of it was discovery related, and I'm going to talk about the 10 mistakes that I've done. I've narrowed it down to 10. Mistake number 1. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. No goal. It says no goal. Go. This is a conversation that's happened in the past between me and my sales guy. So what did you want to talk about with the customer today? We're just meeting. Alright, let me do this. So what are we talking about with the customer today? We're just meeting with them. To do what? Just to meet. Pretty much every meeting in my first year and a half with that specific sales guy was that meeting where we were just there to meet. There was no goal. I didn't know what we were doing in that meeting, and generally speaking, you're supposed to know what you want to get out of a meeting. So if you're heading into a meeting, and I'm saying meeting way too much, have a goal. Better yet, have an agenda, especially if you have multiple things that you want to talk about. That way you don't forget anything, kind of like what I'm doing right now. But have it written down on your computer, or actually don't put it on your computer, put it on your notebook. And that way you don't forget anything while you're talking to your customers about whatever your goal is. But you also have to have a goal. Not having a goal is like getting in the car but not knowing where you're going. How do you know which direction to take? How to take the conversation? You don't. You just sit in the car and probably listen to a podcast, which I haven't done in a while because of COVID-19. So here's some examples about some obvious goals. Well, one, you want to understand what the customer issue is. So the goal is to understand the customer issue. Another goal for generalists like me would be to figure out which specialist I would need to bring into the next meeting so that they can understand whatever the customer is talking about. A third goal could be to set up a time and date to do a demo. That's a goal. The thing about it is a goal can change. You might be driving somewhere and someone calls you up and say, hey, I need you to go to Costco on your way home. You will change directions and go there. But if you don't know where you're going, it's not on your way, no matter what. If you walk into a meeting and you just want to chat for the sake of chatting, what are you going to start talking about other than having your account manager list his resume for the last 17 years? And again, that was just one sales guy out of the 3 or 4 that I've worked with so far, who gave everybody a bad name. Anyways, so that was number 1. Numero 2 was not qualifying a meeting. Generally speaking, it's the sales guy's job to qualify the meeting. Call up the customer, hey, what are we talking about? Do you have budget? Do you have timeline? And all that. And then they come to the SE and say, hey, we have to go there and meet the customer. SEs, being the trusting people that they are, would just go. And it's happened to me. It wasn't a big deal for me because I'm in Ottawa and all I do is just drive to customer sites in a 2-foot radius. So it wasn't a big deal. But I know SEs who travel the country to meet a customer only to find out that they don't have any money. I've been to meetings where a cold lead came in, a hot lead came in through marketing. My sales guy qualified it, and we ended up going to the meeting, and they wanted a $1 million solution for $5,000. That is not qualified. Now imagine I traveled all the way across the country just to find out that it's not qualified. It's not the sales guy's fault. It's the sales guy's job to qualify, but it is my job to qualify the sales guy to make sure that I'm going somewhere for a reason. I don't want to go somewhere and waste days of my life being away from my family just to say that, oh, this is going nowhere fast. The question that I have is, why don't SEs qualify their account managers? There's 2 potential reasons that I see. One is they forget about it, in which case it is their fault, so just suck it up and next time remember. And the second reason is they're not comfortable enough to ask the account manager if the deal is qualified. They assume the account manager knows what they're doing. But it is our job to ask. And if you don't have that comfort level, then at that point, just build that relationship with the account manager, so that the next time he asks you, hey, I know you're in Ottawa, do you want to come to San Francisco with me for that deal? Well, if you're in Ottawa in the winter, the answer is always yes. But generally speaking, you might want to qualify that. Like, did you ask them these simple questions to know that if there is a potential deal? No? Then can you ask them before I leave my family and leave all the other deals that I'm working on just to go meet a customer? 3, spray and pray. Is this interesting to you? Do you like this? How about this? What are you doing? You said you were interested in buying a mode of transportation. I meant the car. Oh, okay. Well, how about this? Interrogate the customer. SE. So how are you solving this problem today, customer? Well, we have a variety of products. I'm more interested in knowing about your product and how it usually fits in your customer's environment. We ask the questions here. Okay, that's never happened. But during discovery calls, it should be a conversation. I've been in situations where customer asks a question and I would say something like that. Hey, before I answer your question, do you mind answering this question? And after a few of these, I noticed that I did that a few times. And now the customer doesn't want to answer any of my questions because I didn't answer any of his or hers in that situation. So it's a give and take. They're doing their own discovery about our company as well. It's not just us doing discovery about them. They're doing this discovery about us, and they want some answers. You can't just have it as a one-sided conversation. That's not fun for anybody. Solutioning on the first date. Peter Cohan likes to use the example of you go into a doctor and the doctor asking you 1 or 2 questions and providing a prescription. It's not enough information to actually provide a solution. The customer may not even know the problem that they have. So it is your job, before you provide a solution to the problem that they don't have, is to inform them that they do have that problem, and you can provide a solution at a later date. My sentence doesn't make sense there. If the solution is so easy that you would provide it on the first meeting, then maybe they don't need a solution. They don't have a big problem that you're solving. And generally speaking, the solution is not complete what you provide on the first date. Setting up. And I don't mean setting up your demo or your laptop beforehand. What I mean is setting up the solution. It's one thing to solution on the first date, it's another thing to set up the solution. You need to hype it up. I talked about it last week in last week's discovery video, where you ask guided questions to help the customer envision a solution, your solution fixing their problem. And if you can set it up in the discovery meeting, they will want a demo. It will not fall by the wayside. Number 7 is destroy the like button. That's supposed to be no notes, not taking any notes. For crying out loud, take notes. Why aren't you taking notes? I like to use my Rocketbook, personally, because I know some people like to use their laptop. I don't like doing that, but I like everything on my computer, so I have my Rocketbook. Take a picture, it goes to my Evernote. Okay, so this side is SE, this side is customer. And this one is interrupting. How do you... Good question, Mr. Customer. We do that by using an asymptotic formula that enables your team to be more efficient. That was not my question. I was asking about how... That's an excellent question, Mr. Customer. We do that by acquiring some ACLs to block unwanted variables from entering your system. That was annoying to me, interrupting myself. Imagine how your customer feels. And I used to do that because I get excited because I knew the answer. But as it turns out, sometimes I was answering the wrong question. And experienced SEs still do that today. It amazes me. I did that, it's okay, don't do it. Pause for 1 second after the customer finishes their question, and then you can go to your answering mode. No debrief. Yeah. After you walk out of a customer meeting, just have a chat with your account manager about what went well, what didn't go well. Chris White likes to call this as the perfecting your craft, but also it's a good time to modify the strategy that you implemented before walking into the meeting room about the next steps of how you're going to close this deal, if there is any deal to close. And you will not know that if you don't debrief. No follow-up. And I'm talking about meaningful follow-up, not just thank you for meeting, like meeting notes, action items, next steps and all that, and answer to questions that you didn't answer during the meeting. I usually like to give it a 2-day period before sending the follow-up, just to have a touch point, not right after, because if I answer right that day, that's not even English. If I answer on the same day, then I have nothing to follow up with in a couple of days other than say, hey, Mr. Customer, I'm following up. But if I wait a couple of days, then I can send it. Some people argue that you should do it on the same day. As long as you do it, do it. The problem is not to delay too much. Like, if you go 3 days, 4 days, 1 week without sending anything, it just shows that you're not very professional and you're not very enthusiastic about this deal. You may have other things that are more important. So just follow up. Bonus! A meeting. And this stands for every meeting is a discovery meeting. Well, it means what it means. Every meeting is a discovery meeting. You could be in the middle of a demo and you end up doing a discovery. You could be having lunch with a customer. That's a discovery meeting. Don't lose the opportunity to do a good discovery. You might be having dinner with the kids and you're discovering that it just takes forever for them to say a sentence. That's unrelated. But yeah, every meeting can be a discovery meeting. You just have to listen to what the customer is saying. If you like this content, if you find it useful, make sure to like and subscribe. If you think other people might benefit from watching this, even though it's in a little bit of an experimental format today, let them know about this channel. And before we go, I'd love to know what mistakes that you did. I just shared 10 of mine, so share one of yours in the comments section below. With that, I will see you next time. Peace.